Hey, what's up? Welcome to the program. I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching Sit Down. Lost in Space, finally coming back. Mina Sundwall is here with us. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
So you were like 15 years old here in this picture, is what I found out.
It's so funny for me to see it. I went back and watched some of the first episodes of the first season, and I'm sitting there going, I look so young. It's crazy.
So where were you at this point in your life? Like, what was going on? What was it like when you first jumped into the show?
It feels a little bit like, for the first couple episodes that we were filming, especially, you know, when you see a puppy and everything is a new experience and everything is very exciting, it was like that, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So when you think about season one, what are the biggest differences in terms of your life, the character? Like, what are the biggest differences overall?
Both she and I grew up a little bit. I'm kind of trying to navigate my way through the beginning of adulthood, which is a whole thing.
It's a beast,
but,
yeah.
we both have grown up a bit. We also both know that there's a lot of growing up to do, and especially through the show and through being able to be in her mindset and then my mindset, I can learn from her and then almost teach her from me in a way that I feel a little more whole, a little more confident and sure of who I am, and I think a lot of that comes from her.
It's nice when the character kind of lines up with what's going on in your life, because there's a lot to work out for the character, but then if you could also bring some stuff into your life, you're like, okay, like this is a little extra time to kind of work through some stuff here.
Exactly, reading scenes and seeing reactions, be like, oh, that's actually a good,
Let me
that's
take
a
this
good
from my
call,
life.
let me pull that, yeah.
That's awesome. So this is like a big family atmosphere. It's obviously taking place in space, but there's a lot of stuff for the family here. What was it like for you to kind of absorb all that and kind of unpack it in a second season?
It was good. We started the second season a little more in the middle of it than we had started in the first season. As actors, we all knew each other. The characters had developed all their dynamics on screen in the first season, so people who are watching it know where we stand, and we were more familiar with it. And then, for example, like Dr. Smith, she's now playing with a little more of an open hand, so we get to play with that. We start the season in trouble. We don't really get into trouble. So it felt more familiar. It was an easier transition going into automatically being a family than the first day of season one.
Yeah, because you have to build things out. Not only like off the set, just getting to know people, but like you have to introduce people to the whole storyline, what's going on with the characters. Now people know, they've been waiting, they're anticipating it. It's like, let's just go right into it.
Yeah, they know who's funny, who's serious, where they are, what the tensions are,
So what was the biggest learning lesson for season two? Because it's like Netflix show all over the world, like you've done season one, what do you take away from season two?
There's a lot. Apart from some of the practical side of working with such intense special effects, which when you're watching the show, you almost don't see it as much as when you know what's happening. We have a lot that has to do with water this year, and there's a lot of movement that has to do when you're sailing and when you're on water and things like that. But from a life side, it was the fact that, especially playing a character that's very similar to who you are and going through that bit of teenage angst, it's an arc that's not linear. And it's very fun to be able to go back and forth and live through the insecurities of somebody else and then take that for yourself. That's a lot of what I took this year of going through my own non-linear kind of up and down arc and then seeing how to handle certain situations differently. Her circumstances are a little more extreme than my circumstances, but you can pick and like kind of cherry pick in between,
Absolutely. What have been some of the challenges with that? Because you mentioned like in life, in acting, like there are a lot of up and downs. How have you dealt with that, and what have been kind of the keys to kind of keeping you steady throughout?
For me personally or for Penny?
Yeah,
for
let's
me,
talk about you.
family. Yeah. Keeping family close. There's a lot. Even now, I've moved out of my parents' house, but it's like every day I'm like, Mom, how do I do this? Mom, I don't know how to handle this. Mom, what do I do about this? And making sure that you know people that know you and know what is good for you as a person, but also have a bigger picture than you have. I think that's something that I learned is very important, because especially when you're growing up, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm the smartest person in the world, and no one can ever tell me.
And then life hits you, and you're like,
and then
oh,
you get smacked in the face,
not.
and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I don't know how to do that. So someone with a bigger picture that you trust a lot.
And these are like your college years in a sense, because like, listen, people at that age are moving out, they're figuring out things, you know, you're just doing it a little bit differently. So like, do you have friends that are in college? Are you guys like comparing experiences in a sense?
Yeah, I am actually in college myself.
Oh, you're doing, like,
so
the
I kind of have a couple feet in a couple different ponds. It's very interesting to navigate, especially going in between being in school and being kind of with people who spend all of their time at school and having that world, and then kind of dipping away for a couple weeks and spending all their time working in a very professional environment.
With people that are a lot older.
With people that are a lot older than you and doing something that's very, very different. There's like, you're in school, you're in lectures, or you're in class studying, and then you're on set like having a panic attack on the floor. You know what I mean?